All right, welcome back to Geography, guys. I'm so glad that you're here watching this. Let's get started today. Today is the second day that we're going to be looking at different religions, and I'm going to be talking about different religions today. So we're still focusing on those five major religions, but we're going to get a little bit more information today. And yeah, we'll go from there. So, let's do this. So, first one that we're going to look at today is Hinduism. So, Hinduism is one of the oldest religions in the world. So, you guys saw that animated map last time we had class, right? And so you saw that Hinduism was one of the first ones to pop up, right? Hindus refer to their religion as the eternal law. And believe that the god Brahma is an unchanging and ultimate being that lives in the souls of the people and helps strengthen them in their ever-changing world. Today, there are over 760 million people in the world who are Hindu. Origins of Hinduism. So it started in the Indus River Valley civilization, and it dates as far back as 3500 BCE, and has spread throughout the region, and back then spread throughout the region through nomadic movement, which is where people, right, are moving around following like different animals and things. We also see different hymns called the Vedas, which have helped to preserve the ideas and structure of the religion over time. Some of their beliefs. So some may consider Hinduism to be polytheistic, which is where you have many gods, but it's actually a monotheistic religion. So even though there are multiple gods worshipped by Hindus, they're all representative of different aspects of their ultimate god, Brahman. The Trinity gods combine to create, preserve, and destroy, and to recreate the world to maintain an eternal cycle. They believe that there's no beginning and no end. So the three main kind of gods that you see in their religion are Brahma, who is the creator, Vishnu, who's the preserver, and Shiva, who is the destroyer. With Hinduism, they believe that life, death, and rebirth is a never-ending cycle. You can be freed from the cycle by achieving moksha, which is wisdom. Life cycles are based on karma, so good actions bring you a better life, and bad ones make your life more difficult. Like I mentioned before, so the Vedas were hymns and prayers. Originally, they were just passed on people to people, generation to generation verbally, but now they're written down. I'm gonna butcher this word, but the Mahabharata is a poem, which is sacred to them. It has over 1,000 verses, or 100,000 verses, excuse me, which talks about like how to live your life and have a good life and to do good things to get more good karma. And right, so there's some other things about that too. Their society is based on the four varnas or social groups, which they have different jobs. Historically, this was called the caste system, and also included the untouchables, which was an outcasted group. But modern day, that's not like part of the system. So the very top you have priests and teachers, the next you have rulers and soldiers, merchants and farmers, and then at the bottom you have your manual workers. Different customs. So a lot of these go by age. As the older you get, you celebrate these different customs. So, right, there's stuff at birth, like when you get a name, you have the coming of age, which, is for like boys, weddings. Most of their marriages are arranged, and the ceremonies are really elaborate and can last between 8 to 10 days of like partying. With death, since the soul is reborn, most bodies are no longer needed and are cremated or burned and placed in the river. It might be 2 more lessons from now. We're going to look at the Ganges River, specifically in India, and that's seen as like a holy river to them. Worship can take place at a shrine created in people's homes or at Hindu temples. So this picture is a picture of one of the more famous Hindu temples. It's actually really colorful, lots of intricate carving. Okay, so ceremonies and rituals usually take place inside the temple. All right, next up, so we have Buddhism. So Buddhism is sometimes considered like not a religion, but a following of the ideas of its creator, the Buddha. It originated in India, but it spread all over the world. It's one of the dominant religions in China. Buddhists follow the words of Siddhartha, who is also known as Buddha, the Buddha, and they see him as their enlightened one. Since Buddha was originally a Hindu, many similarities are found between the two religions. For example, they believe in like reincarnation. Over 500 million people in the world are Buddhists. So we have some different beliefs. There are universal truths that everyone should understand about humans and their existence. Following that understanding, one must accept the Four Noble Truths, and that is all life is suffering. Suffering is caused by desire. Desire can be overcome, and you can overcome desire by following the Eightfold Path. So the Eightfold Path, right, is having the right viewpoint, the right intention, the right speech, the right action, the right work, the right effort, the right mindfulness, and the right meditation. In Buddhism, with their society, it's not like it is in Hinduism. It's more of an independent religion, so a lot of people are doing it like in self-meditation and like self-learning. Buddhist monks and nuns live very simple lives and spend their entire lives studying, meditating, working for the community, and taking care of the monasteries. They also follow over 250 rules and other precepts for living towards enlightenment. So there are three jewels or three main things that are really sacred to Buddhists. So that's their belief in Buddha, Dharma, which is Buddha's teachings, and the Sangha, which is their monastic system. Meditation's also really important to them, and there's the refuge ceremony, which is where they make offerings to Buddha and promise to live by his ways. Worship. So there are Buddhist temples called pagodas or shrines, but it can also include visiting like spiritual sites relating to events in Buddha's life. So like people go on pilgrimages and visit these sites. And while they're visiting these sites, usually they try and follow the 5 precepts, which are avoid harming living things, avoid taking things that are not freely given, live a decent lifestyle, avoid speaking unkindly, and avoiding alcohol or drugs. All right, next religion, Judaism. So this originated in the Middle East, but spread all over the world as a dominant religion. Jews consider themselves to be God's chosen people and believe that their God challenges them, but also protects them. Jews also identify themselves as Jewish, being born into the religion. This is what's called an ethnic religion, so it's both an ethnicity and a religion. So over 15 million people in the world are Jewish today. So where it originates from, the origin. So the religion of Judaism began when God spoke to Abraham and told him to lead his chosen people to a homeland. It continued to grow throughout time, but only as the population grew. It also moved from region to region as the Jewish people searched for acceptance or tolerance around the world. As God chose different leaders, they also introduced God's promises and laws to the people for them to follow. Many Jews today call Israel their home. So this is a monotheistic religion, meaning they only worship one God. However, they believe that God has sent many leaders to help people understand his word. Abraham's considered the father of the religion, and Moses brought them like the 10 Commandments and a lot of the laws that they live by. So the 10 Commandments, right, so you can take a look at those. They also believe that the home is very important and the family center. They believe that heritage is important. This is where we have like the kosher foods, and with kosher, so meats must be drained of their blood. and stuff like that. That's part of being kosher. So Jews can either be part of the Orthodox or the non-Orthodox groups. So Orthodox Jews believe in everything is in the hands of God, while non-Orthodox Jews feel that humans have some control in the making of the laws and the structure of life on earth. They also believe that God sent prophets to remind people of their promises to God in exchange for their being his chosen. Rabbis are the leadership in the synagogue and guide the people in their daily worship. Some of their customs. So, for example, with coming of age for boys at the age of 13, they celebrate their bar mitzvahs. Girls have bat mitzvahs. Lots of stuff with weddings. And Jews mourn the death of loved ones for up to a month and often light candles out of respect for the lost one. Worship for Jews usually takes place in a synagogue. Worship usually involves reading from the Torah and prayers with advice given by the rabbi. Prayer is very important to the Jewish faith. So is education. And then finally, observing the Sabbath or holy day is very important. And is a day of rest and for religious thought. All right, Christianity. So this is also another monotheistic religion. It actually comes from the Jewish faith. It originated in Bethlehem with the birth of Christ, who Christians believe is the Son of God. Since his birth over 2,000 years ago, the religion has spread all over the world and as the dominant religion. Christians believe they're saved by God's grace through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. They also see himself as being the only religion to acknowledge the Messiah and are the only ones saved from a miserable life after death. Over 2 billion people in the world are Christians, and that number is continuing to grow as the world population grows. So the origin, most people recognize Israel as where this religion started because it starts with the birth of Christ. They also believe in the 10 Commandments. They also believe that Christians must confess they believe in Christ, that Christ was crucified and then he died on the cross for their sins. Each Christian denomination has different rules and structures that they follow. Many require baptism to cleanse a human from sin, and Christians are called upon to spread the word of Christ and to live a life according to his teachings. Excuse me. Society. Christian society is really different from denomination to denomination, different from church to church as well. Some groups like Catholics have the Pope as their spiritual leader with bishops and priests below him. Other groups have pastors or ministers. Many churchgoers perform tasks in the church as elders or classroom teachers. In modern times, Christianity doesn't determine a place in society so much. Customs. So we have baptism, salvation, weddings. Weddings are usually performed in a church. Death. That can be different denomination to denomination. Worship for Christians usually takes place in a church, chapel, or cathedral. Worship usually involves readings from the Bible, including the New Testament, and prayers with advice from preacher, priest, or minister. Prayer is very important to the Christian faith. So is learning as much as possible about God and Christ. And then they also have a Sabbath day or holy day, which is an important day for rest. Right, and there are different rituals within Christianity as well, like lighting of candles, drinking wine, singing hymns to honor Christ, and so on. And then we have Islam. So Islam is, it follows the same history and heritage as Judaism, but it originated in Mecca with Muhammad. They believe that Muhammad was the final prophet of God, who they call Allah, and are obedient to the laws established by God through Muhammad. Almost 2 billion people in the world are Muslim, many centered in the Middle East. That number is continuing to grow as it spreads to other parts of the world. So the religion of Islam began when God spoke to Muhammad and told him he was the last prophet through an angel named Gabriel. It continued to grow through time as Muslim believers established new kingdoms, and those kingdoms grew and spread their influence. In recent times, many have converted to Islam due to some of their beliefs and practices. Islam is also a monotheistic religion, meaning they only have one God. They believe that God has sent leaders to help the people understand his words. Like Jews and Christians, they also believe in Abraham and consider him the father of the religion. And they also believe in Moses and the Ten Commandments. They also believe in the 5 pillars of Islam. The first one is a declaration of faith, that there is no God before Allah. They believe in Salah, which is the 5 daily prayers. So they face Mecca at specific times in the day and say a prayer. Zakah, which is a duty, it's like a tithing, so it's giving at least 2.5% of their income to the poor. They have fasting, especially during the month of Ramadan, where they don't eat any food from when the sun comes up until the sun goes down. And then there's the Hajj, which is the pilgrimage to Mecca. So it's going to Mecca at least once in their lifetime to visit the Kaaba. According to there's some other stuff as well. There's a lot of different Islamic societies with different rules that they follow. It depends on the branch of Islam that you're looking at. In some Islamic societies, the government is actually based on Islam. And in a lot of those, there's a stress on like modest clothing, having a strict dress code, and stuff like that. They also have different customs that deal with, how old you are. And worship. Usually, worship for Muslims is held in a mosque. Worship usually involves reading from the Quran and prayers recited to Allah while facing Mecca. Right? They believe prayer is important. They believe education is important. And then they believe in like an inner fight between like good and evil within every person. Oh, and that actually might be it. So today, you guys are your assignment. Let's go to it. I believe I put it in the quizzes. Yep, there we are. So, your assignment for today is 5.2 religion assignment. It's under the quizzes. So you're going to go through. I added a recording of my voice reading the question. So if you want to hear my voice more, you can hear my voice more and read through them. I don't know why it's giving you this other box. It's a mystery. I'm learning the ways of Canvas. But you're gonna, you can read the question, listen to the question, and then type your responses there. And that's your assignment for today. Remember, if you have any questions for me, please reach out. Email works great. You can message me through Canvas, through the inbox over here. And let's pull this up. Is that not working? Oh no. Anyway, just message me and I will talk to you guys later.